Are you living the Delaware Beach lifestyle? You can't live at the beach and do nothing. This up-and-coming year-round area has lots to offer. Find out where to eat, play, and serve. Living the ultimate dream.
Right. Welcome to the 302 Lifestyle Beach Podcast. We got Tara in the house. And chatting with Tara, came across some awesome posts that she was doing regarding just life and some breath work that I was reading a little bit about, and just learning more about Tara. She's got a few things going on, and if you're looking for someone to help you with your pets at home, or more importantly, diving deeper into this, but with health and wellness, and I'm sure you'll say it better than I do. Tara, what is it that you're getting into now with your new coaching opportunities?
So the new coaching is my initial business was called Soulfish Tribe, and when I started it a few years ago, it was really just yoga. I wasn't 100% sure where I wanted to take it. So the last few years have been a big transition in my own life, and I finished the yoga training. I also got certified as a holistic health, gut, and stress management coach. I have gone through trauma-informed yoga, about 50 hours of yoga therapy training, and most recently, breathwork facilitation for circular and transformative breathwork. So I have rebranded the business, so it is now called Soul Vikality. So vitality with a K. And that essentially came from the word vitality, and then the goddess Kali, which is kind of the goddess of rebirth, right, and transformation. So Soul Vikality, transformative living coaching. I'm essentially just wording it as an emotional wellness and integrated health coach. And it's really a mind, body, soul, gut approach to coaching and, transformation. So my goal is to I also taught for 10 years in special education. So my goal really is to take everything from that as far as behavioral modification, self-awareness, healthy gut habits, daily movement. I'm also certified to teach Pilates, breath work, and transforming stress response patterns. And I have a couple different options for people to either put them through like a coaching program. I have a 45 to Thrive program, so 45 days to kind of run through all of these things, or just singular breathwork facilitation. So it's kind of a whole human approach, right?
Yeah, so I just want to unpack some of that because some really good stuff going on there. So I guess that's why I didn't really quite, I haven't heard this wording before, which is why I wanted you to say it, because I was a little I wasn't clear on what it was, but now it sounds like you're kind of opening up a whole new arena, really, because a lot of people just focus on one thing or the other. But what I'm hearing you say is, look, like you can't just look at the mind or, something going on with the body. It's kind of all one. You got to watch what you eat. You got to, your breathing, like all of it's connected. And so I'm hearing you say is, look, I went out and I've learned all these different things. So let's put it all together. And more importantly, if you don't want to do the whole thing, you can say, okay, let's just do a 45-day class or course. And you have different techniques for working at different things. So how does somebody get into all the things in schooling that you went into? Was there something that happened in your life that said, you know what, let me learn more about this? Or have you always been into this stuff?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I say, how much time do you have? I would say several things. I mean, like I said, I was a teacher for 10 years. I taught special education. So I worked with a lot of students in low socioeconomic backgrounds, a lot of students with obviously family issues, behavioral issues. So I have that experience. Personally, I have had a pretty rough road through some of my life. I have a pretty, traumatic childhood, and just came out of a divorce in the last couple years. So there's been a lot of things in my life personally over the last 8 to 10 years that have kind of led me to this. I would say probably in my late 30s, right around 40, it was a time where I was kind of noticing that I needed to deal with some things, mental health wise, from my past. And I was also having some physical issues. I got diagnosed with a digestive disorder. I was having some anxiety and depression. And so within that, I entered my own journey into yoga. And then I was finally diagnosed with this digestive disorder through a local naturopathic doctor, Kim Furtado, who's amazing. And within doing all of that, what I realized was that a lot of my digestive issues and a lot of my chronic pain and back issues, I'd pulled my back several times as well, were actually really connected to my emotional state and not so much, my physical state. So when I was going through all those things, I was like, oh, I'm pulling my back out because I'm doing CrossFit and I must be doing this wrong. Or, I'm having these digestive issues. I must be allergic to gluten or, whatever else
Mhm.
it was. And what I found through working with the holistic doctor and taking myself through school on my own was just this connection between your gut microbiome and your brain and how all of these things are interconnected. So a lot of times we have sleep disorders, anxiety, depression, and we think we have to take, a certain pill to deal with that. But a lot of times that's actually connected to what's going on within our gut microbiome and vice versa. We have digestive disorders and it's connected to your brain. And so just through a lot of personal experience, and then I have a tendency to, when I'm learning something new, I like to go get myself certified myself. So that's kind of what I did. I decided to take myself through a holistic health coaching program. And between that and the yoga, it made all these connections. And it's been a pretty eye-opening experience. I start talking, I'll go off on tangents because I can get really nerdy talking about the gut and the vagus nerve and all of these things. But it's pretty fascinating once you can start to realize and pinpoint and identify these connections between the two.
Yeah, this is really fascinating to me because I'm a veteran, and when I came
Mm-hmm.
back from Iraq, it was just take this, take that. I can't sleep, and all of a sudden it was, we got 5 diagnoses and like 10 medications and all this stuff, and it's
Mm-hmm.
probably been 7 years since I haven't taken any medication. But I reached this place in my life where like I started treating symptoms from taking medications. So it was like I was just on this roller coaster of like treating symptoms. And it
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
what is going on? And I know you're diving into the gut and stuff. And I was drinking a lot, eating a lot of fast food. I was working, 15 hours a day and not taking care of my body and not realizing that a lot of the stuff that I was putting into my body was affecting how my thought patterns were going, my sleep. I just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't feeling good. I felt like I was going to the gym all the time, but there was something missing. It was until I stopped eating crappy. My wife got diagnosed with lymphoma, and we cut out sugar, changed our diet, and it was just like this overnight thing of like I stopped taking medications, which I'm not a doctor. I don't recommend anybody just stopping medications, but it was just my personal thing. And here we are all these years later, and I think I'm one of the only patients that goes to the like I was sitting in the doctor's office, and he's like, you are my only patient that has nothing wrong and doesn't take any medications. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
not good.
Well, it's amazing. And my brother is a vet as well. He did 2 tours and he has PTSD and, deals with some things as well. And he's currently not taking too much, but the same thing, the VA had just kind of
Hmm.
prescribed him a bunch of stuff. And I remember at some point, and same thing, he has some issues with drinking and stuff. And I said, what's the VA's plan for like weeding you off of this medication? I mean, is there a
Yeah.
plan for that? But what else is fascinating is that all of your stress hormones, like your serotonin, your cortisol, all these things are created in your gut. So when your gut microbiome is off, um, then all your stress hormones are going to be off. So a lot of times you can really look at things like anxiety and depression and insomnia and treat that through treating the gut microbiome, whether that is through diet, certain supplements. I personally went through like an herbal thing with Kim Furtado, but also meditation and yoga. You can really actually transform your brain and your gut through breath work and meditation. So it's pretty fascinating. Talk about it
And
all
I
day.
love today's age too, because there's so much information out there. Like if you don't want to hear any of these facts and stuff, if you do your own research nowadays with YouTube or Google or any of this stuff, it's all scientific knowledge now, that all these things are connected. So
Yeah.
okay, so when I'm hearing like gut health and stuff like that, the first thing I start thinking about is like probiotic and stuff like that. So when you start mentioning gut health, what are some things that people can do today, or symptoms that people are experiencing around why they would care about their gut health? And what are some practical things that people might be able to do to help that?
Yeah. And that's kind of a loaded question too, just because the gut microbiome is really complicated and it's different for everybody, and new things it's evolving. The science behind it. The school that I went through, I'm actually going to be working as like one of 5 coaches with the founder, and we are going to be able to order a full gut microbiome test for people. I just got the results from my own, and it gives you like a 7-page
Wow.
printout of your test results, so you can actually see from your gut test where you are as far as vitamin and mineral deficiencies and hormonal deficiencies within the gut. But that's kind of a whole nother layer to it. But I would say in general, symptoms to be thinking about are, anything that would be digestive. So bloating, constipation, diarrhea, all of those lovely fun
IBS?
things.
What about
Yeah.
IBS? I have a few people that suffer from
IBS.
IBS. Irritable bowel syndrome, I
Oh,
believe.
irritable bowel. Yeah. So if you were diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, that's usually kind of a way for the doctor to say, your bowel is irritated. We don't really know what it is. Here's a pill. But yes, if you've gotten irritable bowel syndrome diagnosis, leaky gut, I personally was diagnosed with something called SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. If you've ever had a diagnosis of like candida, which is an overgrowth of yeast. But the physical symptoms that you would be experiencing are most likely going to be anything from heartburn to bloating to gas to constipation to having to go to the bathroom too much. Also feeling lethargic and fatigued, because that's a piece of it too. Oftentimes when you have a lot of those symptoms and you have issues in your gut, you will often also be deficient in vitamins and minerals. And so you may also experience a lot of fatigue. And that was my issue. So just give personal so people have an idea of it. When I had my blood work done at the same time of my diagnosis, I was deficient to almost non-existent for vitamin D, vitamin B12, and iron.
Wow.
So I had to take a focus on that, because a lot of times when you have SIBO or leaky gut or IBS, your gut lining will actually have little holes in it. So even if you're eating healthy food, it's not really being digested properly, and it kind of seeps out into the system, and then your body kind of sees it as toxins. So those are things, just to think about. As far as dietary things, the first things are to rule out most of our foods that are considered inflammatory. So your sugar, your alcohol, gluten, dairy, those are kind of the top inflammatory things. You can try to weed out coffee, and a lot of times they'll have you do a food removal, take out a bunch of things for like a month and then gradually add back one thing in at a time, and kind of see how your body responds to it. Probiotics are also a good thing to look into, and those can get kind of complicated too, trying to find the right probiotic with the right amount of enzyme strains. There's also digestive enzymes out there that can help. And then I think an important thing to toss in there when we're talking about your gut and food and your ability to digest food properly is talking about your stress levels, because when you are living in a high state of stress, like chronic stress, or you've had some trauma in your life, if you are living in chronic stress or like survival mode, as we call it, like fight or flight mode, what happens is, your brain is saying, okay, there's danger, right? We're living in survival mode. Sorry, Pepper's always involved here.
Big dog in there.
Right? Always dogs here. So when you're in survival mode, your brain is saying, okay, we need to put you into survival mode so you can emotionally take care of yourself. And when that happens, it literally sends a signal to your gut to shut down. So you shut down basic things that are going on in your body in order for you to, it's like if a bear were chasing you, right? If a bear were chasing you in the woods, you would go into fight or flight mode, which is good because you need it at that time, but it like displaces the blood and everything in your body, so your gut will actually not work. So if you are in a chronic state of stress all the time, or in a toxic work environment or relationship, your gut will literally not digest. To put it in easy terms, your gut will literally not be digesting your food properly.
Wow. Now, and when we say, a bear's chasing you, that also means like just being in states of high stress, meaning you were in a high stress for, let's say, a moment or some type of traumatic event. And now just the mere thinking about that situation or that high stress where it puts you in like that state of, fear or worry or stress or anxiety, you're saying that feeling, that constant state of arousal or stress, or you're saying that starts affecting my body, where now my body isn't digesting my food properly. That's when I start seeing high levels of inflammation and other stuff going on with the body. And so so if somebody's experiencing that right now, or any level of that, any type of issue with their body, you're seeing a great place to start is in your gut. Okay. Now, and just to drop these in, so your websites, if somebody is having these issues, they can go to your site, get more information there, and start the process of figuring out how to look at this whole picture. Okay, and that site is soulvitalitylifecoaching.com?
Correct, yes.
All right, guys, we're going to put that down below. And if you need someone to watch your pet while you're doing this, you can go to GYWOPetsitting.com and do that as well.
I will send a pet sitter out to walk your dog while I come and do breath work with you, right?
Ooh, great lead in. So the breath. Now, I just watched this video a couple weeks ago about a scientist or doctor that was talking about the breath and how we're having so many dental issues these past couple decades, and that, if you look at the history, this wasn't the case, 100 years ago, that there wasn't all these dental issues and, braces needed and all that stuff. And that he mentioned it's because, especially the Western culture, we started breathing through our mouth. I don't know what that has to do with this, but
it does.
What about our breath, and how does that affect our body?
Yeah, and there's a really good book. If Pepper gets off my lap, I'll get it because it's a couple feet ahead of me. But it's actually called Breath. It's a yellow book, and it's amazing. And he talks all about that, the evolution of the human face, literally, and how the human face and jawline and nose and everything has evolved and changed over time because of the way that we breathe. It's super science-y and amazing, but so I won't get into all of that. But yes, the gist of it is your breath is important. If you are breathing improperly, it can impact a lot of things. So we usually say, you can change your mindset, you can change your gut health, you can change your mental health, and your physical health simply with changing your breath. So most of us, right, without thinking about it, are breathing improperly. We're walking around breathing through our mouth, or maybe we're breathing through our nose, but we're not really thinking about it. There's also some stuff in that book that will talk about the different nostrils, your left nostril versus your right nostril.
I heard that. That's really weird.
Yes,
Can you
and how
explain that for a second?
Well, and I'd have to look in the book because I don't remember which is
Yeah.
connected to which actually, but one nostril is connected to a certain part of your brain and the other nostril to the other. So let's just say, for example, if you are somebody who really suffers from like chronic allergies or sinusitis or sinus infections, or you have, these things called turbines or deviated septum, if you have things going on with your nasal pathways, the way that you're breathing, or if one side of your nostril is stuffed up more than the other, it will actually impact your brain and your thought process. So it's pretty
Wow, super
fascinating.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So typically in most life, you want to be using your nose to breathe, right? And in yoga, we do a lot of that, right? We do the ujjayi breath. With your mouth is closed, you're breathing in and out through your nose with a constriction in the back of your throat. Normal breathing, when you're exercising, you want to be breathing in and out through your nose. It just is how the air moves more properly. The breath work that I am certified to facilitate is a little bit different actually, and we actually breathe through your mouth, but for a very specific purpose.
Hmm.
So we breathe in and out through the mouth only, with a little bit more intensity to breathe more deeply into your belly. And the purpose of it is to release toxins and get your emotions moving, and it's kind of like an emotional release. So there are different places and times and purposes to do mouth breathing. But for the most part, you want to be breathing in and out through your nose and in through your belly. A lot of people aren't actually breathing into their belly, and they're just breathing into their chest.
Hmm.
And your chest is where you kind of hold all of your stress. So,
It's funny too. It's just interesting that that you're on today, because I've just been diving deep into all these topics. This seems like the past like few months for some reason. But the one thing about the breath too is like that's like the one thing that stays with you your entire life. It's always constant. And if you think about it, like eating and breathing are probably they are like they're the two biggest and most used facilities in your body out of anything that you're ever going to do the rest of your life. You could have no arms and legs and you're still breathing and eating.
Still need to eat and breathe, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're connected too. That's all part of it, really. Think about how many of us are, because of our schedules, we're eating really fast, and I'm super guilty of it. I mean, between being a teacher, we had no lunch, and I've worked in the restaurant industry for 21 years, and so I have a tendency to eat standing up and eat really quickly, and so I went through some Ayurvedic training with yoga therapy, and they talk a lot about that, to take your eating as a practice. So when you sit down for a meal, like not to have your computer or your phone nearby, and to chew slowly and breathe properly while you're eating and chewing, and so that it's a meditative process almost, and that helps with your food digestion as well. But I mean, most of us are just not doing that.
Yeah, military, it was you have 2 minutes to eat as much food as possible, and I still can't get rid of it. Like my wife is
Yeah,
still eating.
it's
I'm
a
like on to
hard
my
habit to
third.
break. Yeah. But it's interesting, you said it's weird timing that it came up, because I had a woman call today for breath work, and same thing. She said, I've been thinking about breath work, and then you posted and made a comment on somebody's post, and this whole circle of events. So we're scheduled next week, to do a breath work session with her. But yeah, it's really fascinating. And I have a morning routine that I've created that I give to clients. So that's part of my coaching package, is this morning routine that we discuss, and it's also part of the 45 to Thrive. But part of the morning routine is incorporating breath work and meditation into your morning within the first 20 minutes of waking up. So just getting up and being able to start your day with that breath work. And then there's different types of breath work that you can use depending on what kind of a mood you're in. So that's also something we talk about as far as transforming your stress response pattern. So when you're at work and you're dealing with a crazy client, or you're sitting in traffic and you're ready to flip the person off next to you, like which type of breath work can you come back to and take 5 and do that, and kind of bring all the stress levels down.
Now, Tara, you mentioned habits, and now I think this is where it ties into how it would benefit people to have someone guiding them in this process. because I know for myself anyways, I'll say, you know what, I'm going to start journaling, I'm going to start going to the gym, I'm going to start doing all these different things that I know I need to do. I make it about a month. All of a sudden I miss a couple of days, and then, or I travel or something happens, and all of a sudden I find myself sleeping in or not doing whatever it is I want to do. And what I learned was like habits can take 6 to 8 weeks to build a muscle in your brain. And it's really, if you don't practice or repeat this thing that you're trying to do over and over again, I think it's like 67 times or something, or 66 times. It's, you literally, you just won't do it. So
Yeah.
having somebody with accountability and like yourself, to say, hey, let's do this. Come on. You know, I don't know what the process looks like, but guys, if this is sounding interesting, we're going to dive into how this is really going to benefit you. But if you mention the 302 lifestyle, Tara's also going to offer you guys a free meet or pet sitting at 10% off or a breathwork coaching session. So let's dive into this a little bit. So habits and why, what have you seen in your current people that you're helping as to why having someone kind of help you through this process helps them, and how can somebody decide to do something about their life today?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's exactly what you said. It's just about accountability, right? I mean, sometimes, I have my own coach as well. I signed myself up for an 8-week coaching program, which is more for business stuff. But kind of like you said, I mean, I know what I need to do in my business. It's not like I don't know what needs to be done. But there's certain aspects of the business that are just not my thing. I mean, I'm more of a creative brain and, creativity, movement, the ideas. But when it comes to things like getting my website done and the paperwork behind it, those are all the things that I'm not good at, and I know I don't like to do. And, I've tried to create habits to do that. Okay, every week I'm going to sit down and go through my bank account and do X, Y, and Z, and then I don't. So I have personally signed up for coaching programs and online courses to keep me on track. So one is a financial investment. When you financially invest in a coach, you're more likely to follow through on things because
Wait,
you now put the money into it.
Yeah, there's a saying. It's called "Those who pay attention." That's what it is.
Yes, exactly. Right. I mean, if you sign up for something that's super cheap or free, you're less likely to follow. And I can, when I've had good example is dog training clients. Dog training clients who call me on their own and pay for their sessions are more likely to follow through with a session versus somebody who is gifted a gift card by a family member for dog training. So the financial investment, I think, is a piece of it. And then, like you said, just accountability. When you know that you have someone to check in with every day or every other day or weekly, and then you have to say like, I didn't do my stuff this week. You're more likely to follow through, and just, I think, also just motivation and pep talks. And like you said, it might be how to exercise, how to work out, maybe how to eat healthy, but maybe you just get new ideas from the coach as well. So I think it's a combination of accountability, the financial investment, also the time investment. If you have coaching sessions and you have an hour call each week, I mean, you've invested that time and energy, so you're going to be more likely to follow through with whatever you guys have designed for yourself to do.
Yeah, I love that. And I also have a business coach, and he says the same thing. Like he says, I have all of my information for free, online. Like if someone really wants to and they're motivated and they want to do it themselves, everything's there. He said, but for some reason, when it's free, people just don't, it's like a Facebook Marketplace. I have a free couch on there and no one wanted it. And all of a sudden I put $40 and I had like 50 people saying they wanted it.
Yeah.
There's something about money and investing a little bit of something into something that people value it. I don't know. I mean, it must come from younger age, but I'm all about that. Also, Tara, I'm also my wife and I are going to a Dr. Joe Dispenza thing in 2 weeks. So I'm really excited about that because it's diving right into all of this stuff. But I think what I'm trying to get at is, guys, if this is something that's sounding interesting to you guys, where you understand the connection between your breathing, your gut, and your life experiences that you're going through. Having someone like Tara that's passionate about it, it's been working closely with all these different aspects of life and stress and people, to kind of pull out of that, unplug yourself, and get plugged in with a group of people that care about themselves and your health, and looking at the whole aspect of health. So I'm here today, I'm listening, and I'm like, okay, let me just at least check this out. They go on your site. Tell me, what's the next step that someone can expect when they sign up with you?
Correct. So if you go to the website and click on the contact form, you basically can schedule a free connection call with me. So it'll be about a 20 to 30-minute phone call just to connect and kind of see what you're looking for, and then my goal would be to give you all the options, as far as what your ultimate goals are. And I have a couple different, like I said, options. I have the 45 to Thrive program. So that's 45 days of a coaching program. I have a 3-month coaching program. I have individual breathwork sessions, individual yoga sessions. So it's really just a matter of what people are looking for. So we can kind of,
Perfect.
custom design things.
All right. Now let's get into the 302. Now we've got all these different people. That's why I'm really excited to have you on, because we have all these people from DC, Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York, all these big cities, right? We came from Las Vegas, which I was curious about the Vegas. You mentioned something Vegas. I was wondering what that was, but we're not going to dive into that. You're having all these people move from these different cities, and they're coming to the beach. And I think it's because they want to get away from that high stress, constant noises, and just overstimulating the brain to a more relaxed lifestyle. And I think people relate to the 302 as that lifestyle. How does this breath work and gut health and overall mindset, how does that improve with living around this area?
Well, I think just being by the beach in general, right? I forget what the science behind it is, the ions or something. If you go down and sit by the ocean, it actually, the ocean air and the ocean itself is good for stress relief and mental health. It's definitely a different way of life here. I mean, I grew up in South Jersey outside of Philly, so I've always kind of been a city girl, but I've been here for, gosh, this will be my 21st year. So
Wow.
it's just, I think it's a little bit of a different lifestyle. I mean, there's not many places I always joke, like I can go out in a really nice outfit, but I'm still wearing my flip flops. It's just a different way to be. Yeah, and that's a big piece of my coaching. I have a separate program that I didn't mention because it's a little bit different, but it's called Create Impact, and it's really more for professionals. And the goal is to like work a very driven professional through this program so that they can basically, I say, master your emotional wellness so you can thrive in your personal life and your professional life, because you think about people who are coming from the city. And little side note, I do Zoom. So if people don't live at the beach and live in the city, everything that I offer can be done virtually or remotely. But, if you're living in these high-paced, stressful environments, this coaching program is essentially for you to take everything I'm teaching you and take it into your professional life so you can be a little bit more zen in these high-paced areas.
Especially with the employment thing right now too, being able to offer, I feel like that's a whole nother level of, because people quit their bosses or their coworkers before. I mean, it's not the business they're quitting, it's who they're with. So if you're able to bring that peace, that centeredness, that foundation into your workplace, I mean, holy cow, that's another level. So
and it's much needed. Yeah, I can't imagine not living at the beach. Every once in a while I feel like I want to like pick up and go. I'm like, oh, I need to go to the city for the day, and then I go and I'm like, nope, I'm ready to go back.
All right, so Tara, what are some of your favorite zen spots at the beach in the 302 area that you've discovered that someone could check out if they've never been here before?
If you've never been here, yeah. I mean, really, the beach anywhere. I try to, particularly in the summer, stay away from like super downtown in the beach. So I I'm learning how to surf again. I tried last summer and actually injured myself, unfortunately. So I just went back on the board last night for the first time since last
All
August.
right.
So
It's cold.
it was not warm and it was crazy windy, so I just paddled. But so I go down to the inlet a lot. I also like to stand up paddle board, so I will take my paddle board out in Dewey down near the Hyatt. You can take your board out there. So anywhere on the Rehoboth Bay, you can also get in down near North Beach. So stand up paddling, you can do that in Lewis as well. And the trails, I bought a really nice bike cruiser last year during the pandemic, and I joked, I've been here 21 years, and the last year is the most that I've been on the trail ever. So I pick up the bike trail, down behind Wawa or behind the outlets, and I'll take the bike trail from Rehoboth all the way into Lewis, and then the trail from Lewis into Georgetown. So any really, the inlet's really nice for the beach. The trails are lovely. Gordon's Pond is also really nice. That's one of my favorite places to go, particularly for the trail. I like that bike trail back there also.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. Try to put some of those spots down below, guys. And Tara, what is the most common misconception of your industry and the coaching industry?
For the coaching, I think that maybe some people may view it as not really a legitimate thing, because I think there's a lot of people out there now trying to call themselves a health coach or a life coach, and maybe not so much a misconception, maybe more of like a question, like, well, what the heck does a life coach do? Which is why I've been trying to find the right word, for what I want to refer to myself as well, because I don't really want to refer to myself as a life coach, but it's hard to find a different word that fits. But I guess that would be it, a misconception or a question of, well, what are you going to tell me that I don't know already? I guess.
Yeah, I could see that. But emotional wellness and integrated health coach, I really like that. I think it kind of speaks to somebody that really wants clarity in their life and their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So love all of this. Tara, I'm really thankful for you to be in the community, because I feel like there's a huge need for this. And what a great time to jump in when depression and health issues are at an all-time high with everything that we've gone through the past year.
Yeah.
So kudos to you. Very thankful for you. And we'll definitely put all of your links down below. But we're going to jump into the lightning round. Are you ready?
Oh, I don't know what the lightning round is, but I guess so.
All
right.
All right, here we go. The lightning round is, what is your favorite book, tool, software, or something that someone can check out today that altered the course of your life or was just so impactful that you want someone to check it out?
Oh gosh, I have a ton of books. I'll just go with the first one that popped into my mind, which is Danielle Laporte, author. She has several books out. One is called The Desire Map, one is called White Hot Truth, and one is called Fire Starters. So she was one of the first authors I really kind of dove into when I started my own transformational journey. And she talks a lot about desire mapping. So rather than picking out goals like I want to get a raise this year, you pick out what feeling you are desiring. So I'm desiring to feel confident or empowered or peaceful or whatever that might be, and then you design your goals around getting yourself to feeling that way, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I like that. And that sounds interesting, because our business coach was talking a little bit about that, how a lot of times business owners, or basically anyone in life, we feel like we want a lot of money, because that's what we're supposed to have or something. But if you dive deeper into it, you don't really want the money. You want the feeling behind what you think the money's going to give you. And that's why a lot of times people end up, with these high paying things, or, they spend their whole life in a career that they don't love, because they think the money or the thing is going to make them happy. And then when they have the thing or the money, they still feel the same. So going after the feeling of what you're desiring, because you can have the feeling first. You don't need the thing. If you can have the feeling, you usually will get the thing that you're wanting anyways, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that's the whole concept behind her desire mapping. Yep. And usually people who want money, it's usually more a matter of wanting freedom or freedom of time. So yeah. But yeah, Danielle Laporte, she can be a little bit woo-wooey, so you have to kind of weed through all that if that's not your thing. But her books are good. It's a good start to jump in.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. And Tara, what is one question I should have asked you, and what's your answer?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
One question I should have asked you. 2021 maybe?
Gosh, I can't even think of anything.
All right. What are your plans for finishing out 2021? You got any big plans this year?
Yes, I purchased a Dodge Ram ProMaster back in October, and so my plan is to build it out as a camper van. A little slow moving, but my goal is to have it complete enough to take a trip or two this fall. So I have several other plans, but I'll stick with that one for now.
Now, are you the girl that wants to do the 50 state trip or 40 or 45 state trip where you drive down that trail all the way through the country, or are you just thinking maybe like a beach and that's it?
I think it'll be both. I have 3 dogs right now, 3 rescue dogs, and 2 of them are elderly. Logan's here whining at me to go out here soon. So I'm not sure that they will travel super well. So my short-term goal will be to be doing short trips, and then my long-term goal, unfortunately, when these guys are no longer with me, will be to do some longer stuff. I did a cross-country road trip after college for about 40 days and camped out and did all the things. So I would like to do that again on some level.
Now, are you going to be doing the snowbird thing? We have a lot of snowbirds here. Is that?
Yeah, I would like to be. I'd like to be mobile. So I'm hoping that with the Soul Vikality business and the coaching, I can be a little bit more remote. I'm working on some things to also do some public speaking. So I'm hoping within the next year or two, as those things evolve, that I will be able to not be in the same place all year round.
Oh, Tara's just sounded like someone that a tip, or not so typical or typical, whatever you choose to look at it, person that just loves serving people and helping and learning more about themselves, and a natural evolution of being able to do that anywhere and remotely, and you're fitting your lifestyle around the life that you want and the feelings that you want, and I can see it, and it's awesome, and really looking forward to seeing your progression and your journey, and helping people connect with you in the area. So Tara, thank you so much for being on the show. It was so nice to talk to you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Guys, if you're trying to connect with Tara, or you're coming from the city, or you're in the city and you're trying to figure out a way to have a person that cares about you and themselves, that has already taken the time to learn about all these different things, and you can just fast track and skip ahead years of trying to change with someone that can help you do that. So kudos to you. Keep living the 302 lifestyle, guys, and thanks again, Tara.
Thank you.
Have you heard of float therapy? Holy cow, this is like the biggest secret in America, I think the world. Famous people, athletes, all these people are doing float therapy, and it's called Urban Float in Rehoboth. You can go to urbanfloat.com, click on Rehoboth, and check out these guys. You're basically sitting on 1,200 pounds of Epsom salt. Everything just feels so amazing, and you're on this weightless, de-stressing pod for an hour. I love it. You get a discount your first time. You can also let them know that you're from 302 Lifestyle. Check them out, guys. Sponsored by Urban Float.
Wish you could spend more time having fun and less time with chores? Go to 302beachtalk.com to get $20 off a home cleaning. You'll be entered to win a completely free cleaning. Eat, play, serve. Sponsored by That Guy with a Broom.